Lady Jazz Live Show. The Lady Jazz Live Show. The Lady Jazz Live Show. Let's talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it.
Body and spirit and family. So, regardless of how she feels about men, be it the ones who raised her, the ones that, or the ones oh Lord, I messed that whole sentence up. Regardless of how she feels about men, be it the ones who raised her, the ones she was raised with, or the ones she got romantically involved with, she has the initial responsibility to remain the queen, keep her composure, be the righteous nurturer, be the glue that keeps her family together, heal from her wounds, and then show her daughter all that is meant to be a true woman. So even if there is pain, anguish, suffering, disgrace, abuse, deception, or anything else present that can kill the spirit of a woman, if she is determined to be a good mother, she has to pull all that aside and show her how to get through it, and that life is still a blessing, and give her daughter a shot at being a good woman with positive and righteous tools when she goes out into the world. Even if your mother's life is not what you want to reflect in your own life, her teachings and the lessons from it should be. Talk about challenges. That was Lone Wolf Lovechild's comment to the statement of mothers, your daughters are watching you. And that's one thing I've always said. You know, I've been divorced for 13 years now, Natasha. And, you know, for the first 10 years or so, I didn't date. Maybe 11 years. I just started dating. You know what? I just started dating not too long ago. I'm not good at it, though, right now. I haven't gotten good at it. But anyway, I didn't date because my daughter, I have one child, and she's a daughter. Anyway, but because she was so young she was young when we divorced, I really wanted to focus on her. And I wanted to let her know that her dad and I, that we still cared a whole lot about each other. And she knows that even today, that because we have a long history, I've known her dad for 40 years now. And because we have a history, we have decided that we were going to maintain a cordial relationship for the sake of our daughter, because I wanted her to experience, even if the relationship doesn't work, I want her to see this. Even if the romantic part of the relationship does not work, the fact that we're parents and that we have a long friendship, we can still care enough about each other to not want to hurt or backstab one another, not to speak, lowly or bad against one another. We still speak very highly one of another. So I think that I would hope that what my daughter has learned is that, we gave it a shot. It didn't work out, but yet, you can still keep it moving. You can still respect one another. You can still honor one another for the woman or the man that they are. And that's what we've done. However, this dating game, Natasha, this thing ain't no joke. It ain't no joke, because I don't want to bring just any old thing home. Yes. I don't want to just bring any old thing around my daughter. And if it's any old thing to me, I know she's going to look at me and say, Mama, you are really tripping. I know she will, and she has, Natasha, and she has, told me, what you going through, Mama?
Well, I think it's good for you to be cautious.
Yes, absolutely. I got to be, Natasha.
You have to be, but not paranoid.
Right. I think I'm warming up a little more to the idea of I don't know. I just think I'm becoming a little more open to the idea of being in a relationship, because, like I said, she's kind of moved on from that. She's not as impressionable as she was when she was younger. She's kind of gotten her own little personality going right now. And plus, like you said, she's in high school. Although she's still watching. And I believe we watch even when we're adults. I'm still watching my mother and how she handles matters and how she talks to people. Not even a dating situation, not even a relationship, but how my mother conducts herself, how she behaves herself, how she carries herself. Even at my age, I still learn from my mother.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To this day, I still learn. Yes.
That's a beautiful thing. I think when it comes to issues of the heart, it's really good to communicate with our children. You said something that was quite interesting. I was just thinking today how my parents, I didn't get the opportunity to live in a house with both of them because they were separated early on in when I was younger. And I just remember they were always very cordial to each other and very kind and endearing. And I would think to myself, well, if you have all that and you're so respectful of each other, why aren't you guys together? And that would put, pose another question. And, of course, I would find out through other relatives because we all have those relatives that just have to tell somebody else's story. But then that's when you start to find out through other people what actually destroys the relationship. And the daughter shouldn't have to actually go to other people to find out. They need to hear from the parents and, tell them, sometimes it just doesn't work between two people. And sometimes, we just have to go our separate ways. But communication is the key. Because just to let a young, impressionable brain just to be there with, no guidance, no direction, then,
Right. Yeah, I think that could be very unfair to the child, to the development, the emotional and psychological development of a child. My daughter also experienced her dad and I reuniting. We tried to make it work again. We came back together. We came back together to try to make it work, really, because there was still some residual love there for each other. Plus, we had this common bond. We had something in common, and that was my daughter. So we wanted to give it one more shot. If it didn't work out, you can't say we didn't give it a shot. We didn't give it a try. So we did. We came back together for a year. Now, that year was just us living under the same roof. After the first 2 weeks of moving back in together, I knew, no, this is no. No. Now I know why we were separated. So we decided, we didn't fight. There was no, there was no infidelity. There was none of that. What it was, Natasha, and we talked about it. What it was that we became just two different people. When we became parents, we became different folks. He and I were married for 1 million years with no kids, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're parents. And we became different people. And the people that we became no longer got along, no longer agreed. We were never on the same page. I mean, little things, disciplinary issues, little things, but we were always just against each other. And I thought, I don't want to raise my daughter, as young as she is, I don't want to raise my daughter in an environment where we're miserable all the time just to say her mom and dad are together. You know what I mean? I didn't want to live in a miserable household, in a toxic marriage, just to say I'm staying with this man because we have a baby. I would rather separate and have my daughter see us as happy, separated, than to see us miserable together. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes. Now, you said something about residual love. Explain that. Talk about that. That's interesting.